A hospital alone shows what war is. Erich Remarque. The crowd, still shouting, gives way before us. We plow our way through. Women hold their aprons over their faces and go stumbling away. A roar of fury goes up. A wounded man is being carried off. Erich Remarque. I am often on guard over the Russians. In the darkness one sees their forms move like stick storks, like great birds. They come close up to the wire fence and lean their faces against it. Their fingers hook round the mesh. The later it gets, the more disturbed the city becomes. I go with Albert through the streets. Men are standing in groups at every corner. Rumors are flying. It is said that the military have already fired on a procession of demonstrating workers. Erich Remarque. We want to live at any price, so we cannot burden ourselves with feelings which, though they might be ornamental enough in peacetime, would be out of place here. They are more human and more brotherly towards one another, it seems to me, than we are. But perhaps that is merely because they feel themselves to be more unfortunate than us. On the steps is a machine gun ready for action. The square is empty, only the streets that lead into it are jammed with people. It would be madness to go farther. The machine gun is covering the square. Anyway, the war is over so far as they are concerned. But to wait for dysentery is not much of a life either. Any non-commissioned officer is more of an enemy to a recruit, any schoolmaster to a pupil, than they are if they were free. Erich Remarque. Early life. Erich Remarque, whose real name was Erich Paul Remarque, was born on July 22, 1898, in Osnabrück, Germany, the only son among Peter Franz Remarque and Anna Maria Remarque's 3 children. His father worked as a bookbinder. The family was poor and moved at least 11 times during Remarque's childhood. He began writing at age 16 or 17. Remarque attended the University of Münster and was planning for a career as an elementary school teacher. Toward the end of World War I, which Germany had entered in support of Austria-Hungary, he was drafted into the army. While recovering in a German hospital from wounds suffered during the war, Remarque worked on Die Traumbude, The Dream Room, his first novel, which was published in 1920. Around this time he switched to the original French spelling of his last name. After the war he worked as a press reader, teacher, salesman, and racing driver, among other professions. Popular success. The immense success of Im Westen nichts Neues, 1929, All Quiet on the Western Front, established Remarque as an author. This novel falls into a class of anti-war and anti-military fiction that grew rapidly in Germany in the later 1920s. Arnold Zweig's, 1887–1968, Sergeant Grisha is another famous example. These books are characterized by a matter-of-fact, often conversational style similar to that of a newspaper or magazine report. Although Remarque conceals little of the horror and bloodiness of life in the trenches, at the same time there is a sentimental streak in the book that is maintained strongly right through to the last pages, in which, following the death of his friend, the hero himself dies 2 weeks before the end of the war, on a day when all is reported quiet at the front. All Quiet on the Western Front was translated into some 25 languages and sold over 30 million copies. The 1930 film version of the book was a huge box office hit and won several Academy Awards. Blacklisted in Germany. Remarque's next book was also a war novel, Der Weg zurück, 1931, The Road Back. Drei Kameraden, 1937, Three Comrades, deals with life in post-war Germany and is also a tragic love story. By 1929 Remarque had left Germany and lived in Switzerland. The pacifism, opposition to war or violence, in his works and their strong sense of sadness and suffering made them very unpopular with the Nazi government, the controlling party in Germany beginning in the 1930s that scorned democracy and considered all non-Germans, and especially Jewish people, as inferior. In 1938, in fact, Remarque was stripped of his German citizenship. In 1939 Remarque arrived in the United States, and he became an American citizen in 1947. His next novel, Liebe deinen Nächsten, 1940, was published in America under the title Flotsam. After World War II, 1939–45, in which Germany, Japan, and Italy were defeated by the Allies, including the United States, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union, among others, Remarque's productivity increased, and he turned more and more to the study of personal relationships set against a background of war and social destruction. Arc de Triomphe, 1946, the story of a German refugee, someone who is forced to live outside of his or her own country, doctor in Paris, France, just before World War II, returned Remarque's name to the bestseller lists. Remarque's later works include Zeit zu leben und Zeit zu sterben, 1954, A Time to Love and a Time to Die, Der Schwarze Obelisk. Erich Remarque. Reproduced by permission of Mr. Jerry Bauer. 1956, The Black Obelisk, Der Funkeleben. 1957, Spark of Life, Der Himmel kennt keine Gunseling. 1961, Heaven Has No Favorites, and Die Nacht von Lissabon. 1962, The Night in Lisbon. All these novels are gripping and skillful stories of personal crisis, escape, and adventure. Remarque also had one play produced, Die letzte Station, 1956, The Last Station. Erich Maria Remarque died in Locarno, Switzerland, on September 25, 1970. Barker, Christine R., and R.W. Last. Erich Maria Remarque. New York, Barnes & Noble Books, 1979. Gilbert, Julie Goldsmith. Opposite Attraction, The Lives of Erich Maria Remarque and Paulette Goddard. New York, Pantheon, 1995. Erich Maria Remarque,